Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today it's on with the Fairground fun. Well, since I last saw you, I've not done very much at all in the Lego City. I've had a lovely Christmas break, and I hope you all have too. One question I often get asked is what I got for Christmas in the Lego world, and well, I actually didn't get anything this year, but Mrs. Hood does get me the new modular every January as kind of a delayed Christmas present, so that's very much appreciated. And I often get asked where I'm going to put new modulars, and I'm figuring this kind of street, this side of the street, so it will be facing the wall a little bit, is pretty much the only area I've got big enough to take a modular because the sort of other side's only 16 studs wide, unless I was to sort of, well, bump one of the other ones and move it down the pecking order. Now, it might be, you might think, that this is a great spot for it, given that it's, well, two base plates and is relatively vacant once we've got rid of all of the demolition crew. But that is a position very well sought after and is earmarked for my next modular mock. You'll all remember my fast food corner, which was my first modular mock. And this one will be even bigger at 1.5 base plates. And that's what I've been designing a great deal over the Christmas period. It's going really well. I'm really looking forward to showing you it. Obviously, I will have to finish that design first, and I will have to buy all the bricks as well, so don't expect it too soon. But yeah, it will cover that base plate there and kind of half of that one there. So yeah, that would be really good. And I don't think it will strictly follow the modular rules, actually. So it won't necessarily be one that will connect with others, but I'm making it right for where it's going here. So it will look great from this angle and won't have any neighbours to connect onto anyway. And while we're on this view, I can show you my vehicle of the day or of the week, which is the wonderful bulldozer 60074, which is a recent purchase for me. And wow, isn't it absolutely lovely? It's big, very big, and it needs a somebody to drive it. But yeah, I really like it. It's very sort of true to life with a moving, well, dozer, I suppose, and these lovely moving tracks. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Perhaps a bit too big for this scene, which is now too full. But you know me, I like things packed and stacked. So there we go. That is a really nice set that I can recommend. Now I have put in a few things from the last brick haul. So we've got our new tan horse joining his friend over there, eating the long grass. What else have I done? I've done a few things in the fairground, which were ideas of yours. One was to add my new crocodile in here, so I've just got him lurking on the edge where we can see him, so thanks for that. I've put her egg there. I'll probably have to make a little nest because it's looking a bit exposed, so I did put the new bush there as well, just to make it look a bit more natural. And another idea was to give the skeleton that has been washed up on the rocks near the sirens an oar, so it looked like he was, a shipwrecked mariner or something like that, and I like that idea as well. Then over here, there was a lot of people who suggested I should remove this whole fence, and I think they're right. It'll look better being open, and I can use all of these barriers for kind of zigzag queuing lines for the more popular rides. And well, minifigures will just have to beware falling into the water themselves because I don't think there'd be a fence there when it was a park either. So yeah, that is really good. Right, so the order of the day is to get more of these rides integrated into the fairground so it looks more like this area that we have done, where it's all kind of seamless and all the wires and motors are hidden. And I think we're going to need to start at the window, with the hardest to reach ride being the Ferris wheel. And there's one more thing that I have done, which is make much more permanent the supports that are holding it up. I kind of had the near lip of it propped up with some loose bricks, and the whole thing was kind of teetering, really, in a very unsafe way. So that's the one thing I have done, sort of used some of these base plates, which were very kindly donated recently, to support some bricks, which support the plates that hold it up. And now it is stable. So that's a good start. So I reckon I'll start on this area and this area next. Now, I was going to put all of my motorised carnival games, like the shooting range here, kind of in a line in front of my big roller coaster. That was one idea anyway, just to kind of block off this ugly grey area underneath where you get on. So I think that still might work, but one thing that definitely can't perform that job is our gold mine Wheel of Fortune. And that's because of the peculiar way that it was built. Basically, it's got a very complicated mechanism underneath. So it's actually built on a 4-high brick cavity rather than the usual 3, which very much limits where we can put it to, well, the area around the Ferris wheel. So as part of the next sort of round of additions, it definitely needs to be included, otherwise it really won't work. But otherwise, it is very flexible, so it could definitely go in this large area here, either to the left or the right. It could even butt right up against sort of one of these stanchions or something like that. Or maybe even go in this area here, though I'm not sure if that's big enough. But it definitely needs to be considered. But otherwise, we're quite flexible with its position. So really, well, we've got carte blanche as to what we want to do with the area there. Now, it does strike me that we'd want something tall there. We've got a couple of tall rides, like the Venus Flydrop, and like our pirate ship, and the, what do we call that? The Turbo Tumbler. But one that's even taller is the chair ride, and that is really crazy tall. So I thought that might look really good at the back, just because, well, we'll be able to see it over absolutely everything else. But, well, it's going to kind of obstruct the Ferris wheel there, and I think it'll be even worse over there with the farm sort of hidden behind it. So I think in that case, actually, it might be worth bringing that forward and having it right in the middle, kind of as a sort of central focal point, which means we still have to get something, well, in these areas that's quite tall and prominent. And this area poses an even greater problem in that we don't really have a very good cavity underneath it, because it's kind of where my tables change layers. This is directly on a table and this table is lower. So really there I need one of my rides that has got all of the workings above ground. And there aren't many of those, but one is the pirate ship. And that's tall and got its workings above ground. So maybe that needs to go there. Let's try it. Well, before I do that, I thought I'd try it in the gap between the two big rides. And I quite like it here, actually. I think we're definitely right by having a tall ride here, so it doesn't get lost. And I'm liking the fact that you can see the 3 skull and crossed swords sails very prominently. That looks good. But the only problem is it's kind of end on when we look at it from the main viewing angle, and you can barely tell really that it's a pirate ship. You're sort of seeing mostly the stanchions holding it all up and those sails, but not really the kind of boat shape that's so characteristic. So I'm not sure that's going to work. So let's just give that a quick whiz. I mean, you can sort of tell it's a pirate ship, but yeah, I'm not sure it's good enough. And the thing is, if we have it here, you'll be able to see it side on as well as kind of head on from that perspective. So yeah, I'm going to try it where we thought. Well, it definitely fits. It definitely looks more like a ship from this angle. You can still see its sails and its prow and all the rest of it, so I think that looks quite good. And does it hide the farm? Well, a little bit, but not from all directions and all of it all the time. So yeah, I quite like it. Now, what I could do is make all the mechanism side be on the far side, so it'd push it a little bit to our right, and then we'd have the caravan sort of nestled in between the horses and the ride itself. I think that'd look a bit better. And then when it comes to it, I can do some sort of steps for people to get on and off on the near side. So I think that'll work. It's green on green, but I think we're going to have that problem absolutely everywhere because, well, the whole fairground's going to be green based at the end. But yeah, what do you think? I'm thinking that's probably the right place for that. So if I do that, then the first thing I'm going to have to do is really support the underneath of this area, because this ride does kind of move its surroundings quite a bit. It's not too bad, but it does sort of bend things and so on. So I think it needs a definite sort of stable base. So I think I'm going to have to kind of bridge this gap underneath with lots of bricks, spare bricks, and then we can build the land to complete all of that. And then because it's all above surface, it will be easy to just plonk on top with the mechanism on the other side. Oh, right, here goes. All right, so I've kind of built a supporting wall underneath the floppy base plate because it overhangs this table by about 5 studs or so, and that's built on a 12 by 24 kind of brick that somebody sent me, which is very nice. That's a good support for that. And the bit that's kind of bridging the two different levels from the base plates to the plates is going to be using all of these 4x4 green plates, which are also sent, so they've been really useful already. And then I figure I'm going to kind of have a bridging bit that kind of builds on top of that and transitions down a level and from the bright green to the normal green, and that can kind of slide in like that and kind of form a transition that's a bit rough, but I don't really mind that. And the colour change is a bit severe, but again, there's not much we can do. And I will be able to disguise all of that later with some details and people and goodness knows what. So that's good. And then when I put the ride in the space, the workings will be on this side, which means that it will be slightly lower when it's near the farm. And then that cable, I reckon I can feed into a gap in there. So basically, I think I'll want to remove one of these slopes so there's a hole for the cable to go. So yeah, I'll do that next. All right, so this corner is a bit of a reach, but here we go. We've got the caravan in place, just to make sure its satellite dish is pointing in the right direction when we're finished. And you can see the wire that was coming out of this end of it. I've started concealing using some curved slopes because it's got to kind of reach all the way up to this bank where it's going through a gap there. Now, I don't have enough of those, so it won't be fully concealed today, but I think from a distance and with the ride in front of it, you're never going to notice. So that's working well. And then it will connect up with an extension and join all the rest to get powered. So that works well. Now these bright green ones I've got on just to represent where the stanchions are going to go, because a lot of this takes immense planning to get it all right in situation. So that's fine. I will still have to reverse the mechanism, so that's all on the far side. And then, well, I haven't tested it, so I'm hoping there's enough space for it when it's in motion to not hit any of the fence or, well, anything else for that matter. So yeah, I've positioned it to make it work with the wiring more than I have for the actual ride itself. So let's hope it looks good. And then basically I'm going to transition to the normal bright green plate layer from here. So that will be our join line there, kind of that goes along here, turns into bright green, and it zigzags there. But hopefully we can cover a lot of that with paths or what have you. So yeah, it's going well. Let's keep going. I think that's looking a lot neater. Very good. So yeah, hopefully the ride works. So I'm going to have to redo all this. And I've just noticed a tiny sliver of pink. You might be able to see it at the top of those slopes before the plates. I'm going to have to pull that up and put something green in there. Yep, but looking good. And it's in. It's a bit squeaky. I can't quite work out what's squeaking, but it's in. That's the main thing. I've even got the flags facing the right way for the wind, prevailing towards the harbour in my city. But I think that's looking pretty good. I mean, you can see that tiny bit of wire still unconcealed. I was just 4 of those curved slopes short at the back, but it's not too close to the sheep, so it won't bother them. And we get a really nice perspective, I think, seeing the sails, but knowing full well that it is a pirate ship as well. And I can see all of the farm just by sort of pivoting a little bit either way. So yeah, I like that. Even the squeaking's quite endearing in a way. Anyway, I found my pirates that were sort of lurking around my minifigure tubs. So I've put them there just for temporary positioning. I will have to build some steps up to that ride and so on, but I'll probably want to link that with the paths, and the paths I want to link up with all the other rides. So basically there's no point doing it now because I'll just have to end up moving them again. But I don't think the transition between the greens, dark green, bright green, dark green, bright green, is too bad. And I think we'll disguise that even more in due course. But yeah, wow, that was quite hard because it was quite a stretch and it took a lot of different sort of experiments to kind of get it right. Actually, that should be tilted up, shouldn't it? But yeah, pretty good. I think next might be trying to put in this gold mine. I suppose we could put it in kind of there, couldn't we? That might work quite well. Yeah, might look good. But then again, maybe I should fill in this slot first and see how it works with whatever is in there. Oh, hard work this. Well, keeping with our idea of bigger rides at the back, I think we've got two main contenders for this space, and the first is the Turbo Tumbler, which I think is a really good fun ride, but I'm not sure if it's the right one for this space, partially because with the caravan that's powering it on the side, it's either going to be a bit to the right or a bit too much to the left for the space in my mind. Also, the main feature of this is these sort of spinning blades, which dead on, you really can't see very well. And well, you can see them a bit if we sort of pivot round to the left or the right, but not too much, to be honest. Also, it's going to have to be away from the wall quite a bit because of the way it spins, the whole thing going around like that. It needs a lot more space. So I'm not sure if that's the most efficient use of the area. Yeah, anyway, so that's option one. So I'll just try and lift that off. Where's strong? There we go. And if I try another contender, now this is a bit more fragile, so I'll probably have to hold this one from the base. This is the Venus Fly Drop. And I might have to swap it around so the caravan powering this one is on the left-hand side, but that will mean that the nice tall green column is kind of about here against the pale wall and will show up very well. And I think that will be able to get right pushed up against the wall, making the most efficient use of space as well, just because, well, it doesn't have to rock back into that position. So that could be a really good ride to have there, actually. And I must remember to add its new sort of supports when I do that, because I got these in lime and green brick to replace the grey ones. That was one of your suggestions a while back. I think I've already given a bedoing, but if not, there you go. So yeah, I think that might be the best way for it. So I think I will swap it round to the workings on that side, and it should be a relatively easy install, I hope, though I do have to cater for the wire, of course. Famous last words. It'll be a relatively easy install, he said. Well, it hasn't been at all. I'm still having to negotiate the real-life window ledge underneath all of here, which complicates matters a great deal because obviously my room isn't perfectly measured in whole stud distances and so on. So basically, I've negotiated that. You can see I've done the transition into the roller coaster level, but I haven't finished that yet. I've got the wire vanishing there. So there's a little bit showing, so I could cover that like I did this one if I get some more of those curved slopes. That will be all right, but it doesn't look too bad because, as many people have pointed out, these caravans do have a kind of power link to the campsite supply or whatever the supply might be, a generator somewhere, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. Yes, I'm hoping, more famous last words perhaps, that it'll be a lot easier when everything's on the 3 brick height sort of standard over here, but while it's all these different brick heights, it's definitely a lot more tricky. But having said that, it is in, and it is silhouetted against the pale wall, which I think really makes the colour pop, because lime really could have got lost in amongst all of this bright green, so I think that works well. And I've added it to a new power supply in this camper here, and it is actually going around very smoothly as well, and quite quietly. I've got it on a different one just because, well, I've got a lot of rides on that power box already, and it actually needs to rotate in the opposite direction. So yeah, I could do some shenanigans to make that work, but quite frankly, I've done enough to get it where it is. Right, so I just need to finish this, putting on the remaining parts, and then it should be ready to roll. And you see I have swapped over those 2 vertical stanchions to the green and lime now, and I think they look a lot better than the all grey ones, which I can now recycle. Well, not all these rides are for everyone, and the vertical drop ride is definitely outside my wheelhouse. But wow, doesn't it look good against the wall there with the top on, and as I'll show in a minute, fully working. Looks very good indeed, if you ask me. Really well spaced in between the Ferris wheel and the roller coaster. I don't think many of my rides would have worked as well as that. Yeah, really good. Right, let's give it a whiz then. Proof is in the pudding. Up, stutter, fall. Up, stutter, fall. And what I really like about this ride is it's got a very different motion from well, definitely all the official Lego rides, but also all the rest of mine, in that they're mostly all going round and round or something like that. And it's a really good contrast like that. So yeah, really good. Liking that a lot. Now you'll see that I've added another caravan just into the corner there, and that's just to use up some of the dead space there. It's not one with a battery box in or anything, so I think that gives the hint that the caravan park sort of side of the fairground where everyone's living is maybe over there into the distance. So I quite like that idea. Clearly I'm going to have to bury some more of these battery boxes in surroundings and so on, so I might need it back at some point, who knows, but it's good for now. So yeah, I'm really liking that, but I don't think I've got any more time to put any more rides or carnival games in today, but I will just place the gold mine Wheel of Fortune in so we can kind of guess what that will look like, because I was thinking here would be a really good place for it. Partially because then you can kind of sort of walk around that to get to that. It'll be sort of an interesting path shape, maybe pressed up a little bit more against the stanchion. But also because this one needs the motor going the other direction to all of these. So if they share that battery box, then that works really well. So we can have the gold mine and the Venus fly drop on one motor. So that's two going there. If I put these on as well, we've got 3, 4, 5 the carousel, and 6 the little duckies. And then why not? 7 is the big roller coaster, all on its own. And then we've got these 3, 8, 9, 10, being the 2 in the middle there, and the pirate roller coaster. And wow, is that noisy enough for you? But isn't it looking amazing? And when I wanted this whole area in a fit state to have the tour of the city and not look too unkempt, and we've still got this great big pile of rides over here, but nonetheless it will still look good. You'll get the idea of what we're trying to do here with all of these moving at the same time. And I will just temporarily reinstate the dodgems so that can be going around for that tour as well, because after all that's probably my best ride. But I think the 2 that we've done today have been some of the most tricky to install, and wow, really good looking. I think that might almost be my favourite, you know, but that one is pretty cool. Yeah, I am absolutely loving this. Wow. So I won't try and do a full tour now, because I'll just be doing what we could do next time round. But yeah, very happy with that, apart from him getting stuck every now and then still. Well, I've just turned that off so I can hear myself think and say thanks very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. Next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be doing a brick haul, with it being Wednesday, and this will be, well, kind of like Christmas for me, because I've got 4 or 5 really good big packages that you've sent me, I imagine as Christmas gifts. So I'll be going through all of those. Very exciting indeed. And then on Friday, I'll be doing a full tour of the city. Haven't done one since, well, about 7 months, I think I said, didn't I? And, well, there's a lot of progress that has gone on since then. Not just the fairground. We've done, well, Daily Bugle, train builds, all sorts of things since then. So, yeah, that should be a really good video as well. And then on Monday, I think we will come back again to the fairground because, well, we're making really good progress now. And, wow, just imagine when all of this area is filled as well. It will just be absolutely fantastic. So until all of that, see you